The dust in the shop is getting out of control, and working with materials like MDF only makes it worse. So today, I'm going to take a step towards reducing the dust as much as possible. I'm going to add an air filter to the shop. When I first started working with wood, I didn't really know there was a difference between dust collection and air filtration, but there is. Dust collection is a vacuum of some sort that can collect the large chips and the medium-sized particles that are created when you cut wood. An air filtration system removes the smaller particles that can float in the air for up to 30 minutes or so after you finish your cut, or even longer, depending on the airflow in your shop. A workshop should have both dust collection and air filtration of some sort if you want to keep your shop clean and your lungs healthy. None of what I'm talking about today replaces the need to wear a mask while working with wood, but it's meant to work in combination with your mask. This is the mask I use while making cuts, but it usually comes off fairly soon after I'm done with my cuts, leaving my lungs vulnerable to those small floating particles. In my shop, I'm using a shop vac and a cart to collect the chips at the machine. The cart is on wheels and has a really long hose so they can move it around and connect to whatever machine I'm using. I've also plugged the shop vac into an outlet that has a remote control. This makes it easy to turn off and on when you need it. I plan to eventually set up a more permanent dust collection system with wall-mounted ductwork throughout the shop, but that probably won't be for a while. For now, I have the shop vac to take care of the big stuff, but nothing to take care of the smaller stuff, so I need an air filter. There are a lot of options for an air filter, and some of them can be fairly expensive, but you can also find some really cheap options as well, like the DIY box fan setup that many of you may have already seen somewhere on YouTube. The DIY box fan is actually a pretty good option. It's relatively inexpensive, and depending on the size of your shop, it can do a decent job filtering the particles from the air. You can get a basic box fan anywhere from $20 all the way up to $100 or even more. Then you just buy an air filter that's about the same size as the fan, and find a way to attach it to the intake side of the fan. And if you want to get really fancy, you can figure out a way to mount it on the ceiling so it's out of your way. And if all that is not fancy enough for you, well, why not get one of these Christmas light timers as well? So you can turn the fan on for a set amount of time. Perhaps you know you're going to be in the shop for 2 or 3 hours. Then you can set the fan to run just while you're in the shop. I considered this for my shop, but I wanted to get something that was designed for the task. And the one I decided to get wasn't much more expensive than the DIY box fan would have been anyway. I ended up getting this Wen 3-speed air filtration system. Wen is a brand I've been seeing around a lot more lately, and it turns out they've been around for many years. But I personally have only heard of them recently, so I thought I'd give this one a try, since I've seen a couple other YouTubers who have tried this brand, like Shop Nation and Easy Swan. This air filter was priced right. It's one of the lower priced in its category, not quite as cheap as the DIY box fan, but not much more. And you get a product that was made for the job and it has a warranty. So let's get this box open and see what's inside. Inside the box, we have a remote control with batteries included, hooks that attach into the unit itself, hooks that mount into the ceiling, and some chains to hold it all up. So like it says on the box, this is a 3-speed system, and it has a timer function, so you can set it and forget it. And since these are most often mounted on the ceiling, the remote's a nice feature, so you don't have to climb up a ladder to operate it. My first step will be to remove these bolts, so I can attach the hooks with the orange plastic coating. Then I place the other hooks into the ceiling. Now I can just hang it by the chains. This part was a little awkward to hang on my own. Once I had it up there, I decided it should sit a little higher than that. The chains have a keyring-like thing on the ends, so you can easily adjust the height. The shop is already a loud place, and adding one more thing that will most likely be running the entire time I'm in the shop could be a bad thing. So let's see how loud this is. This is on low. Now medium. And now on high. That's actually not too bad, and most of the time I have noise-canceling headphones on while I'm in the shop, so this won't bother me at all. So let's talk about the details of this machine. It's a 2-stage system. It has a 5-micron outer filter and a 1 micron inner filter. That should take care of most of the harmful particles in your shop. That is, if the machine is sufficient to cycle the air fast enough in your shop space. How's that measured? It's measured with CFM, cubic feet per minute. As mentioned before, this has 3 settings. Low has a capacity of 300 CFM, medium is 350, and high is 400. Generally speaking, you want to cycle the air in your shop about 6 to 8 times per hour. The machine I have, set on high, can cycle the air in my shop about 5 times an hour. So that's a little short of the recommended value, but I think it's close enough for me. The other option was to spend quite a lot more for a larger unit that would end up being more than I needed, and I wasn't going to do that. Since installing the air filter, I've noticed that the surfaces in the shop are not gathering dust quite as fast as they were before, so it seems to be doing its job. If I had one complaint about the unit so far, it's that the remote can be difficult to operate. It really needs to be pointed at just the right spot for it to work, so that's a pretty small complaint so far. It is a fairly simple machine, not a lot of moving parts, so hopefully not much can go wrong. I'll let you know if anything changes, but for now it's working great and I'm happy with my purchase. Click here to see me make some more sawdust.